Slavery. In the 17th and 18th century, slavery was America's economic powerhouse. Slavery has caused a war, and slavery isn't over. In 1619, a Dutch ship brought 20 slaves to Jamestown, Virginia. This led to much more. In the 17th century alone, 6.7 million slaves were brought to America. Tobacco, rice, and indigo are the main crops why slaves were used in America. After the Revolution, the North started thinking slavery was bad, but to keep America together, the 3/5 Treaty was what the North settled with. In the late 18th century, tobacco land got exhausted and slave growth seemed unlikely, and slavery was dying down in the North. In 1808, slavery was counted as illegal. In the South, 1/3 of the population were slaves. Slave owners made their slaves dependent on them. Some men even forced sexual liberties with slave women. Many runaway attempts happened, but few were successful. Rebellions started happening, such as Turner's Rebellion, when 60 black men killed 75 white men. In the 1830s to 60s, the mission to stop slavery was gaining strength. A main reason is slavery was counted as a sin. The Underground Railroad became a big success. There was still a lot of conflict over slaves, though. Compromises such as the Missouri Compromise and the Kansas-Nebraska Act were put in place to try and stop this conflict. They were unsuccessful, and there were still raids, such as the John Brown's Raid. In 1859, the South finally broke, and a civil war began. Abraham Lincoln was elected this year, and his first goal was to keep America together, but his second goal was to end slavery. On January 1st, 1863, Lincoln declared all slaves free, and soon after, the 13th Amendment was passed. About 29.8 million slaves live in slavery today. Slavery itself has made $32 billion per year for slavers, and if you live in the U.S., that doesn't mean you're safe. 60,000 slaves are in the U.S. There are many types of slavery as well. Domestic slavery is when employees are forced to serve or convinced they can't leave. Sex trafficking is when people are forced into the commercial sex industry. Forced labor is when people are forced to work and oftentimes are treated poorly. Bonded labor is when individuals are forced to work to repay debt. Bonded labor is the most common type of slavery. Child labor is any type of slavery where a child is a slave. Forced marriage is when someone is forced into a marriage. Slavery is not only here, but it's big. India alone has 14 million slave victims. In Mauritania, there are 140,000 to 160,000 slaves. Slavery is an issue now, and it needs to be stopped. We need to be more conscious about things like online relationships and donate to charities to try to stop slavery. Stop slavery today. Thank you for watching.